Historically, our society hasn't really dealt with trauma very well. So, if our society doesn't address those big overt traumas like war or assault, what are we supposed to do with the smaller everyday traumas that all of us experience on some level? Whether it's the death of a loved one, a car accident, surgery or illness, or just being abandoned or ridiculed. There's a lot of ways that trauma lands in our body. Today, I'd like to talk about something I call inadvertent trauma. I lived in England and we played this game of tag called Kiss, Cuddle, or Torture. It was girls against boys, and when you caught someone, you were supposed to have predetermined which finger was kiss, which finger was cuddle, and which finger was torture. And then they would pick a finger and you would do to them whichever of those things they picked. However, in my situation, I believe that the boys always chose torture, partially because it took more than one of them to catch me most days. So they would gang up on me, and when they caught me, they would hold me to the ground, one boy on each arm, one boy on each leg, and then someone would tickle me. I learned pretty quickly to not be ticklish and to shut down my emotions, because the less I reacted, the quicker they left and got off, and the quicker I could get up. Something that reinforced this trauma was that no one came to help me. And then when I was it and I caught a little boy who had broken his leg the year before I got to school, he picked torture, and so I kicked him in that leg. And the teacher came over and yelled at me and rescued him really quickly. So some of the beliefs that formed from these events were, I get punished for being too strong. No one's going to help me, so I have to do it all on my own. And I have to take responsibility for everything. So what caused me to dig for this trauma was when I started studying the psychology of trauma, I realized that I had a lot of trauma responses, but didn't think I had any trauma. And I didn't know where they came from. One of them was a huge startle response. Another was trying to create a safe environment wherever I was. Another is that I didn't have very many memories from my childhood. So the reason I'm recording this video is to validate the impacts of trauma, whether they be from a really overt trauma, like sexual assault or being a veteran of war, or from the more everyday traumas. And to acknowledge how hard it is to speak out about this in a culture where trauma is minimized and not really acknowledged, and where people who are the survivors of trauma are often blamed. So if you have any of these trauma responses, or you're just not able to live fully, you feel like you keep shutting down over time, maybe you see that through depression or anxiety, I would encourage you to seek out a professional to talk to. And I encourage professional because with trauma, if we delve into it on our own, it's possible that we could go into a trauma response, fight, flight, or freeze, and make things worse. And the other piece of that I want to emphasize is that even if people don't acknowledge that this was trauma, or worst case scenario, they tell you you're making it up or you're full of it, if it landed in your system as trauma, then it's legitimate and you're not weak or crazy or stupid. And for someone like me, pretending to be strong and pretending it didn't happen just made it more and more entrenched, and it affected my life. I will be doing more blogs on trauma. If you have questions for me, please don't hesitate to contact me. There are a lot of resources out there on the web and in your communities. And I encourage you to find the support and information that you need to help you come back to yourself. All right, until next time.